What's going on, everybody? Today's video, what are we doing and what are we talking about? So, what did we do last video? I teamed up with Forest of Illusion and we provided you guys with a really cool and unusual N64 test cartridge prototype and the ROM dump with that. So you guys got a real kick out of that. And I had a lot of you message me directly saying, Jerry, please, for the love of God, do another one of these. So the reality is I have planned to do this again with some of the other N64 prototype cartridges that I do have. Discussed this with Forest of Illusion and we decided to do it again for you guys. So the cartridge that we're looking at today, I'm really excited to show it to you guys because the fact is there is game Overdump out on this. Let's check it out. So now for those of you that are interested in this NU64 Flash Gang Writer, I have a very detailed, in-depth video demoing this hardware, and you guys can check out the link in the description, and I'll have that posted here for you guys to check out. Okay, so some details about this prototype ROM dump. So the cartridge I got through a buddy of mine not too long ago, and apparently this came from a Eurocom LOT sale. So anyone that's in the N64 collecting scene, or if you're into the homebrew scene, chances are you've come across a demo that came out back in the 90s, the late 90s, and that was called NU64. This was put together by a group of young developers that were trying to get into Rare Limited. This was essentially their pitch to try and see if they might be able to get hired. The music track they used for this demo was pretty unique. It was like a flamenco guitar or a Latin guitar. That exact music track is the same track that was used in this demo that I'm showing you guys here today. So it's pretty unusual. Now, I don't know if they actually used the track from NU64 for this demo, if it was extracted from NU64, or if it just happened by chance to come from the same source, an original source. Now, I actually reached out and talked to one of the developers who was a part of that team. I reached out to him on Twitter and asked him about this music track because I was wondering if it might have been part of an SDK or if it was just something completely random. And he confirmed that the track was not associated with one of the SDKs. It was just something that they had on file and used it within the demo. So here's the cartridge here. This is the prototype that we're going to be looking at today. So as you can see on the front, it reads Controller Pack Test version 5.4. And this is a 128 megabit version of the cartridge. So we're talking 16 megabytes. Okay, so when we first boot up the demo, this is what you see. There's some 3D models that are shown on screen with some basic physics applied. We got some gravity happening here. Now there's the slider controls that you see in that little box menu screen, and when I use the joystick I can move this down, and then by using the left and right corner triggers there we can extend the size of the sliders for those controls. Then using the directional pad, we can cycle through all the different menu options that we have. So the first one we have is ambient color, and we can hit left, and then we have screen color and run simulation selected, which is the 3D model. So we have box, selected node, XLU, selected node color, and then resolution low high. And then the last is our bit depth between 16 and 32. So for ambient color, we have 3 different slider controls, and those are essentially controlling the RGB colors. And the same applies for the screen color. So the way that we can cycle through the colors for this is we use the C control buttons. And so you have up, left, and downward directions that you press and hold on the C pad. So if we press the upward arrow on the C control, and then we simply use the joystick left and right, that will allow us to control and cycle through all the different values. And so as you can see, we're starting to change the color of the sphere by changing these slider values here. And I find the controls are extremely slow to respond, but it does work, and it seems to be more of a development tool or a proof of concept. It would be really awesome if we could find out the history behind this demo, whether it was something that was part of a Eurocom competition, or if this was just specifically a development demo that was assembled by some of the Eurocom developers. So I know a lot of you guys are super hyped, super pumped to check out the overdump for this cartridge. So here's the deal. After analyzing the dump of this cartridge, what caught my eye right away was the header information within the ROM file. So the name had some ASCII code in there that read 40 winks. So right away that sort of, I was kind of excited at that idea that this might be a rare build or an early build of a 40 winks game. However, after analyzing the data further, it turns out that this overdump is from Duke Nukem 0 Hour that came out in 1999. So a lot of the data apparently is very similar to the retail version. Could possibly be a debug version maybe. Now, not 100% sure, but I was talking to a couple of buddies of mine about this, and what we're thinking what happened was developers probably just grabbed this cartridge to quickly test the ROM that we're looking at here today. And by wanting to test something very quickly, they were just sort of rushed. And so they didn't bother to update the decal that was put on the cartridge, which is why you see controller pack test version 5.4, which doesn't really relate to the demo that we're looking at, which is used for testing RGB colors on 3D models. That would sort of explain why the header information, that you got that ASCII code, 40 winks, that was not necessarily updated. So if they were using some scripts to set up the header information as well as programming the ROM onto the cartridge using an NU64 Flash Gang Writer, that might possibly explain why the header information was not updated as well as this decal. So it's either that, or we're thinking that it's possible as well that the 40 winks ASCII code that's embedded within the ROM header was used as a placeholder, sort of similar to how SNES ROMs use the header information Super Mario World. So again, it's all just sort of a theory. We're not 100% sure on that, but that's sort of what we're thinking. I'll be passing everything over to Forest of Illusion, and he's going to be providing download links for everyone to check out this prototype demo. So it'll be cool to find out where it leads, whether or not we'll be able to take the overdump data of Duke Nukem 0 Hour and patch it somehow and get this demo version to boot. And from there we can find out whether or not it's a debug version or if it's just simply a retail copy of the game. It's hard to say, but regardless, pretty cool, pretty exciting. So that concludes the video today, guys. We're narrowing down on the number of N64 prototypes, but we've got 2 down, so that's pretty cool. Want to give a big thanks to Forest of Illusion for hosting these N64 prototype ROM dumps for us. Super awesome. Hit the like and subscribe if you can. I always appreciate it. You guys are awesome. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Ciao.